Welcome to the Renee Lobo Report, bringing you issues of topical interest. Hello everyone, I'm Renee Lobo and welcome to the Renee Lobo Report, bringing you issues of topical interest. Today my guest is Sar Inbar, who is the Executive Director for Business Development at Upsilon Ventures in Manhattan, and the company started in 2003 and it's growing in leaps and bounds, and significant strides made by Sar Inbar. And he's going to tell us all about what Upsilon Ventures deal with.
We are standing right here ringside in the middle of Manhattan, just a few blocks from Times Square.
In the heart of Manhattan, amid towering buildings and bright lights, a winter wonderland awaits. Citi Pond at Bryant Park is proud to be New York City's first and only free admission ice skating rink.
It's like a treasure right in the middle of the city.
Well, if you can't decide whether you want to shop or go ice skating today, you can actually do both in Bryant Park.
Each winter, over 3 million visitors enjoyed this iconic winter setting. The holiday shops at Bryant Park feature over 125 specialty retailers from around the world, showcasing their creations in custom-designed retail boutiques.
It's kind of an amazing setup. They have like a little winter village, a shopping village here.
Celsius, the 7,000 square foot glass-enclosed restaurant, lounge, and event space, serves up creative cocktails and seasonal dishes, set against the park's natural beauty and the New York City skyline.
All right, guys, I'm lacing up skates. Kind of a weird way to start the show, huh? Well, not if it's going to be the first ever talk show on ice, and it starts now.
Tonight in Bryant Park, the Rangers hosting their third annual skate and viewing party.
Hey guys, I'm here in Bryant Park. It is Simpson Mania.
Finding Nemo was no problem at the pond in Bryant Park.
Holiday in Bryant Park. And the lighting of the Bryant Park Christmas tree.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Todd Eldredge.
Citi Pond's landmark location and unique atmosphere create the ideal backdrop for leading film, television, and corporate events.
The Christmas tree is lit, the stores are open, the ice skating is free of charge, a beautiful backdrop for a beautiful place here at Bryant Park.
Citi Pond at Bryant Park, New York City's premier winter destination.
So thank you very much, Sar, for coming here today. And Upsilon Ventures just started 2003 and made such amazing achievements that are, they should be honored over here, because you're really working very closely with the New York City, especially at a time when we see the revenue going down, the economy not doing that great, and we're going through the second recession, yet we see the pond flourishing and growing.
Thank you very much for having me. It's nice to be here. Yes, we see the pond flourishing and growing, and unfortunately in the last few years, I think in an economy that we've been battling over crazy climatic changes, I think the key element in the pond's success is the fact that it is very diversified. Diversification is key in our model, and we have built the pond within the last few years, in partnership and in cooperation with the City of New York, with the Conservancy, with the Bryant Park Corporation, and it was really based as a public platform. And I think that is the key success and that is the key ingredient in the model that we create. The pond is a development. It's not just a real estate development, but it's a real estate platform that has multiple layers that are attached to it, which took years to develop because we are so ingrained and infused in the economy, in the community, in the city of New York. It's been an ongoing process of learning the consumers, learning the patrons, learning the community, and seeing what they want.
So you have these iconic destinations in Midtown Manhattan through this innovative strategy that's more like hybrid at this time. So it's project and property development at the same time, working different layers so that community engagement is also there, and makes you an entrepreneur in residence because you have done a lot to keep increasing the company's bottom line. So how did you develop your entrepreneurial skills?
How did I develop them? Well, through time and experience, but I do believe that entrepreneurship comes from within. It's in the heart. It's about creation. It's about innovation, and I think the pond, being our signature model, is really representative of entrepreneurship. As you said before, the key here is really the synergy between developing a piece of real estate and interacting with the community and interacting with the public. Bryant Park as a whole, and the pond at Bryant Park, or Citi Pond at Bryant Park as we call it now, since Citi is our title presenting sponsor, is really a petri dish that combines activation and content-infused layers on a piece of real estate. At the end of the day, it's all about project development. You take a piece of property, you take land, and you say, what do I do here? Do I build a building? Do I build a school? Do I build a recreational facility? I think at the pond, what we did, we infused many elements together, and we're sitting and we're inhabited in a landmark park in the middle of New York. The location is obviously key. And then we said, instead of just developing things that are very linear, we would turn this place into an attraction. How do you turn a place like that into an attraction? I think that's the key to our hybrid model. We develop a property, we develop a piece of real estate. Now it's structures, but then we give it meaning, and we infuse content and spirit and programming into that piece of property. That's what I think makes it entrepreneurial and successful. The engagement and the interaction with our partners, with our corporate partners, with our sponsors, with charitable affiliated events that we do, other events that we do for the corporate sector, for the private sector, or for other sectors as a whole. The engagement with the community, the public events that we do, be it commercial or non-commercial events, all of that come together and transform it into a place, into a destination, rather than just a project that facilitates one linear goal.
Right, so it's a private, public, corporate sector coming together. It's a synergy, and then at the same time, the stakeholders, the community involvement with these kind of attractive destinations that you've come up with in Bryant Park. What would you say has been your greatest accomplishment in that?
I would say the greatest accomplishment would be what you defined before, is forming a very strategic alliance and a right equilibrium in what we call public-private partnerships. It's the ability to utilize public space, public land, and build upon it certain modules that either serve the public and serve the private area through different disciplines. Take a look at Bryant Park, and it's very diversified. On that same piece of property, the major intent, the primary use, is public use. Right. It's done for the people of New York. We receive a lot of international tourism as well as domestic tourism, but it's also engaged and inhabited by the community. Within that property, you can choose as a patron to do many things. You can just enjoy what we would call public enjoyment of the property because it's developed and it obviously has an adverse effect on the park and on the surrounding park. But then you can engage in food and beverage activities. We've built a hospitality group within our team, within our company, and we have Celsius being one of the main elements in Bryant Park, facilitating food and beverage services, a la carte food, events, private events, public functions that we do there. In addition to that, it can also be a recreational facility whereby you can just either view and watch skaters or participate in skating. We have the holiday tree, which in itself is a micro zone that we create and turns Bryant Park into a very winter, festive, holiday-themed, very boutique, very warm feeling in the middle of Manhattan, bringing together families, bringing together the public, bringing together a smile on people's faces. At the end of the day, it's all about the interaction of the project with the community, with the people, with the public around it.
We see that Bryant Park coming alive in the winter, and that's your signature project. We talked about Celsius and the rink and the holiday shops, the ancillary structures, the Christmas tree. How many visitors came last year?
We usually classify our visitors in two groups. We have the visitors that are the actual skaters or facilitate the skating activities. We have about 350,000 visitors that visited us last year, as well as around 3.5 to 4 million people that visited the park, Bryant Park, and Citi Pond as a whole. Let's remember that the visitors, since we're a very open and public amenity, are diverse. It can be visitors to the holiday shops, meaning the holiday village that surrounds the ice skating rink. It can be visitors to the ice skating rink itself. It can also be visitors to Celsius, patrons dining, and also having special events.
Now, you were responsible for getting the Citigroup contract. How were you able to do that, and the ongoing negotiations, how are they going?
Our team has been working very closely with Citi. We were fortunate to have Citi as our title presenting sponsor for years, and we're happy that we renewed the relationship with them. Citigroup views Bryant Park and Citi Pond at Bryant Park, which is the name of the project, really as their hub in New York City. And I think that their sponsorship is blessed in the way that, in collaboration with us and in true partnership, they're able to produce a product that is much more than signage and a billboard. As we said before, we are in the middle of Manhattan, and we are exposed to many strict regulations by the regulatory agencies. And the ideal partnership with Citi, and we're happy that we're able to do that, is implementing a true sponsorship and partnership in ways that are different than just throwing names on a bulletin board. Citi has been absolutely great working with us in developing a concept and a look and feel, and turning the pond in collaboration with us and with the City of New York into a destination through signage, but also through activation and through events and through giving and finding new and collaborative ways and ingenious ways, in a way, to contribute to the community through public events that we do, through private events that we do that also affect the community because they are open to the community, campaigns, promotions, a general look and feel, providing a palette, an ice skating rink, and ancillary structures that are open for everybody to come and join and enjoy.
Now, obviously, with the Bryant Park project development that you did, you made yourself, in the world-class entrepreneurial, person with great skills, especially with business technologies and strategizing yourself in such a way that we create these iconic destinations like Bryant Park. Tell us, are you moving your real estate into other cities as well, whether it's Boston, Chicago, Jersey, or Kentucky, or any of these cities?
I think that in the last few years we've received a lot of interest from other cities and other organizations to work in collaboration with them in order to develop a venue, a destination, or a project just like Bryant Park. I think in the last 2 to 3 years we've reached a point where we have finalized the overall architecture and design of a model. Mm-hmm. But that model is not a platform. You can't take Bryant Park, you can't take Citi Pond at Bryant Park and copy-paste it to another city. At the end of the day, it's about real estate And at the end of the day, unlike traditional development, that we build a building, we sell the units, and we move on, here we build a project, but we stick with the project, we live with the project. We are driven by many subjective reactions and comments, and we need to make objective decisions based on those subjective reactions.
So what are the factors that drive you to, to your destination, like these kind of projects?
So the main factors that would drive us are one, location, and two, how would we be able to contribute in a different location, in a centralized location, obviously taking into effect financial considerations, because at the end of the day, you have to pay the bills of the project and you have to facilitate and support the project. But having said that, you need to find what would be the added value of that specific destination, whatever it is, at a specific location. And those locations vary. To take a project like Citi Pond at Bryant Park and put it in other major cities or even smaller cities is a big obstacle, is a huge challenge. It can be done, but it doesn't mean that Citi Pond as Citi Pond needs to be copy-pasted to another city. The idea, the destination, the hybrid model of permanent temporary structures, the fact that you want to engage within the community and within the residents that are within that city that you're going to, those are key factors that you have on your punch list when you go to introduce it. But as real estate developers, we would walk into a new house, we would walk into a new city, and we would first take a breath of the fresh air that's in that city and ask, what do the residents here want?
Exactly.
What are we missing? What are we missing from an architectural perspective? What are we missing from a design perspective? In Bryant Park, we have a skating rink. Does a skating rink really work in a different city? It's all about maintaining a very strict equilibrium and understanding what are the parameters of the real estate that you're occupying, as well as all of the satellite entities that revolve it. Be it, how do you answer to the community? How do you answer to the corporations and to the private sector that is in that individual city? They all vary.
Right. So it's not just the location in real estate. You also look at the demographic trends. You also look at the value proposition for the people around that area. Will that support this project and make it successful? So you cannot just, as you said, cut and paste Bryant Park project and put it in another city and see it grow and be successful. So there are a lot of other factors that come in, and you have to be careful. And that's where I guess not just your education, but your expertise, and at the same time your intuitive ability to get to know what's going to work and what not, the gut feeling can get you to move on to be very successful. Absolutely. I know that you were also one of the co-developers for the Zell Entrepreneurship Program. Tell us a little bit about that.
That goes back a few years, but in my as a senior in university, one of the programs that was instituted by the Interdisciplinary Center in Herzliya in Israel, the school which I attended, both business school and law school, adapted a joint international entrepreneurial program that was named after Sam Zell, who was a Chicago entrepreneur. Right. And the idea behind that program was to select a group of students from the business sector and from the computer science and the law sector, and build up the entrepreneurial spirit and try to find ways to nurture and to build upon the business discipline into entrepreneurship. I think that program really gave, at least me, the first flavor of being able to implement the academic, regimented discipline on the ground. It was really the first kind of the first swim in the pool. I think that jointly, since it was held in Israel, it was very international. A lot of the professors that came to teach the program were from abroad, from the United States, and we also visited the Wharton School of Business, which was in collaboration with our program. And through many case studies, learning case studies, but then adapting new case studies of our own, that was really, I think, my infant steps into the entrepreneurial world. And to this day, I think I use a lot of it, or I still in my head remember many elements that I've learned. You don't learn entrepreneurship.
I was about to say, education is one critical component, but beyond that, you have to just know what's good for you, what ticks well for a particular project. So what would be your advice to the upcoming entrepreneurs who are developing these skills, but still can't figure out, the pathway to success?
The pathway to success. If I only knew what the pathway to success was. But entrepreneurship is really, it's tricky because it's a combination. I think it's a synergy of the mind and of the heart. You're really an entrepreneur at heart, but you need the skill set in your mind, and that synergy, the ability to fuse the two together, I think is what creates the spark, is what creates the magic. Right. You need that entrepreneurial DNA in you, but you also need to work within a certain domain, within a certain discipline, within a certain skill set. I think young entrepreneurs are pretty much easily identified because an entrepreneur by instinct would dream, would create, right, would innovate. Right. That's what we do. We dream, we create, we innovate. But at the end of the day, we need to deliver practical and strategic products. And the way to do it sometimes is long, sometimes hard. And I think the advice that I would give to other entrepreneurs, and it's the same advice that I give myself, is one, by instinct, keep dreaming. You have to dream because those dreams have to in some way become a reality. But you also need to know, sometimes we dream and we have nightmares. So you need to confront those as well. You need to know how and what to adapt, to what extent. And, we climb trees. We just need to make sure not to fall. And if we fall, to have a branch under us to hold on to and not fall all the way to the ground.
Well, that's the trail: dream, create, and innovate, and so that you're able to get something. Now, I know that you're doing some project in South Street Seaport as well, Pier 16, 17?
Pier 17.
17.
Yeah. Through the downtown redevelopment of New York City, we're working in close contact with the agencies of the Downtown Alliance, the Howard Hughes Corporation, Mayor's Office, in order to work in many ways and collaborate on redeveloping the downtown, and in particular the seaport, for public use, for public engagement, for community activation. A few years ago, we initiated a project called Seaport Ice, which was a mini model of Bryant Park. The idea behind Seaport Ice was really to create a center of attraction to a newly residential area, which is beginning to take shape around the South Street Seaport. We all know, in the next few years, the downtown of New York is changing with the new World Trade Center, right, with the Freedom Tower, and all of the buildings, businesses, and residences and hotels that are around it. Obviously, that infrastructure is going to bring in a lot of new opportunities, new platforms, new people, and it's just adding yet another amenity to the community for public engagement, for public enjoyment, for corporate engagement, etc.
And lastly, what's your vision for Bryant Park? Because that was your signature project when you started it off. And so under your managerial skills, where do you want to take it up?
I would say the future, or at least the long-term scope for Bryant Park would be development on a vertical but also on a horizontal level. Vertically, we have the main revenue generators and components, I think, that are in place right now to turn it into a model. Yet it's not an absolute platform. The hospitality, the public engagement, the events, the community engagement can only be emphasized and strengthened. And I think in the last 3 to 4 years, every year is different. We keep changing. I think there's a plus and a minus to it. There's never peace and quiet. It's never steady Freddy. It's never on cruise control. We operate, we manage, and every year we learn from the mistakes, we listen, and we adapt and we change. You adapt to the community, you adapt to the environment, you adapt to the public. Because at the end of the day, it's a public engagement. So that's vertically. You can make Celsius always better, right, through food, through better events. You can make the rink better. You can make the public enjoyment better through other events, through other amenities that serve the public. So that would be more on a vertical growth perspective. On a horizontal growth perspective, I think it's now taking that model that we've created, which is basically a hub, a private public model, which we also call a temporary permanent model, because when you're there, most of the facilities feel permanent, yet it is temporary. We open the season at the end of October, and then we dismantle and load out at the end of February. So that hybrid permanent temporary model can have many uses and adaptations in other scenic environments, in other partnerships, in collaboration with other cities. And I think more horizontally, we can take the Bryant Park model and adapt it to other markets, to other cities.
Well, let's hope you can do that. So congratulations for the South Seaport project that's coming up, as well as Bryant Park, what you've done with it. Talking today to me in the Renee Lobo Report, Sar Inbar, Executive Director for Business Development, Upsilon Ventures, and creating new pathways in creativity, as well as in entrepreneurial skills. As he said, they have to have a DNA, entrepreneur DNA, to do this, and that's what Sar has done. Thank you very much, Sar Inbar.
Thank you.
And I'm Renee Lobo. Thank you so much for watching.
We are standing right here ringside in the middle of Manhattan, just a few blocks from Times Square.
In the heart of Manhattan, amid towering buildings and bright lights, a winter wonderland awaits. Citi Pond at Bryant Park is proud to be New York City's first and only free admission ice skating rink.
It's like a treasure right in the middle of the city.
Well, if you can't decide whether you want to shop or go ice skating today, you can actually do both in Bryant Park.
Each winter, over 3 million visitors enjoyed this iconic winter setting. The holiday shops at Bryant Park feature over 125 specialty retailers from around the world, showcasing their creations in custom-designed retail boutiques.
It's kind of an amazing setup. They have like a little winter village, a shopping village here.
Celsius, the 7,000 square foot glass-enclosed restaurant, lounge, and event space, serves up creative cocktails and seasonal dishes, set against the park's natural beauty and the New York City skyline.
All right, guys, I'm lacing up skates. Kind of a weird way to start the show, huh? Well, not if it's going to be the first ever talk show on ice, and it starts now.
Tonight in Bryant Park, the Rangers hosting their third annual skate and viewing party.
Hey guys, I'm here in Bryant Park. It is Simpson Mania.
Finding Nemo was no problem at the pond in Bryant Park.
Holiday in Bryant Park. And the lighting of the Bryant Park Christmas tree.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Todd Eldredge.
Citi Pond's landmark location and unique atmosphere create the ideal backdrop for leading film, television, and corporate events.
The Christmas tree is lit, the stores are open, the ice skating is free of charge, a beautiful backdrop for a beautiful place here at Bryant Park.
Citi Pond at Bryant Park, New York City's premier winter destination.
Welcome to the Renee Lobo Report, bringing issues of topical interest.